I don't know if we're agreed. If it seems as if we are, because it came up in both groups as important. But I suppose Richard and Claire, we didn't talk about it necessarily in our group, and I wonder, do you think that seems fair?
Yeah, that seems fair.
Grand. Okay.
Just conscious of time, are we? Because there's a lot of open questions, aren't they? That the different groups have thought of. Are we planning on sort of trying to summarise that in next steps, or?
Sure. Yeah, so basically we're almost at the end now, to be honest, because there's hardly anything in our nice to haves column at the moment. So yeah, we're I think about 3 post-it notes from the end of it, and then that sort of gives us a broad picture of what we do next. So I suppose the last thing that I was going to say under important things is that we mentioned linking to HR and payroll. At this point, do we think that's important, nice to have?
Well, there's no HR system, so we will need to find a solution to cover that off with this.
Yeah.
And I think that ties to the sort of ATS piece as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. We haven't mentioned payroll, I don't think, in the session so far, unless I've missed that.
Well, it is listed under Chris's one, linked to other systems, including payroll. So I wonder if you guys...
I think if we ignore the word payroll and focus more on, take it up a level to connectivity to any existing platforms, wider platforms, and whether that's needed, required, essential, etc. We talked about workplace, of course, but if there are any others that need thinking about, we can revisit that as a conversation. Just to touch upon what Richard mentioned earlier, just in terms of next steps, Richard, we'll be going away and sort of consolidating all of this and writing up a report that we can share back with you. It's within that we'll identify gaps. There are, of course, still many questions. There are gaps, and we can pick that back up with you guys as a group, individually, however works best. I'm hoping that we've closed a lot of gaps by virtue of doing this exercise this morning. But there will be some more things that we need to discuss.
I think that's good job if you can summarise this. I think it's been an excellent session, really fantastic session. But I think it's raised a lot of fundamental questions which actually determine this part of what's essentially important, nice to have, etc. And until we really resolve those, I think you can't really sort of draw any concrete conclusions from it. Would be my view. There's a number of fundamentals, and I think part of the theme I think going through is that this always happens, doesn't it? We get excited thinking something like this, in this case the app, can solve all IMI's system deficiencies. So the fact we don't have an HR system, we don't have consistent recruitment processes, the app will sort it. Well, it won't, will it? We probably need internally to do quite a lot of heavy lifting in standardising our processes before we launch an app that's going to sort of manage them. So it'd be good to see the sort of summary document coming back, but I think there's a lot of open questions.
Yeah, and I think there will be, because I think, like you say, it's easy with an app like this to try and make it do all things for all people, but actually you might want to be more specific at launch. And I think like that, what you've suggested in having a sort of pilot scheme is a nice way of doing that as well.
Yeah.
I think, hang on.
There's the gig economy one under nice to have as well, I think.
Yep, there is indeed. I'm just coming to that one. Hang on.
And succession planning. Well, that might come earlier. I don't know, Richard, Claire. But So yeah, there will be a playing back of this in summary, Richard, in the report format, and then once we have gone through that phase, then we will move to creative concepting, won't we, Chris?
Sorry, muted. Yes, that's precisely it. I mean, the purpose of the workshop, whilst it's daunting that there are so many questions and things that we've sort of uncovered, in a way that's a positive, because then we can tackle them and we can work out solutions together. We can sort of plot the path forward. We will play this back to you. We'll work it all out. We'll write it up. We'll summarise everything. And then we'll work with you to close the rest of